Welcome to Verbcoach, an educational technology designed specifically for the foreign language teacher and students. It is not designed for the individual learner. Verbcoach allows students to master verbs, vocab, grammar fundamentals, and sentence structure as determined by the teacher with minimum effort from the teachers themselves. Let's use imaginary student Gino. He types verbcoach.com in the address bar, then he clicks on login with Google. At this point, he will be prompted to find his teacher, and he can write the teacher's last name or even just a few letters. Now you can click on the teacher's name and find all the classes that this teacher has previously created. Let's enroll Gino in this class, for example. At this point, Gino will find the content that the teacher has previously created for the class. For example, if he clicks on the name of one of these so-called goals, there are verbal goals and vocab goals. By clicking on the name, Gino will be able to find what tenses the teacher has determined for the students to practice in this activity and what verbs. And all the teacher had to do was to click on a list of verbs. Now let's start playing the game, which is one of the fundamental features of Verbcoach. This game shows an English input here and a city, in this case Florence, where the language is spoken. Every time the student gives a correct answer, the student will be taken one step ahead in a tour of the city. The input that you see here is not just a repetition of a previously written exercise. The system generates language. Therefore, every time the student does this activity, there will be different inputs in different sequences. A student will never do the same exercise twice. Now, our student Gino starts typing, and you will notice that as the student types, there is a progress bar that becomes green and keeps adding. If a student presses a wrong key, so for example, I'm going to press the letter P, the system rejects it. That's not me erasing the P, it's the system. So in this way, the system alerts the student that the student is doing something wrong. This is very useful not only for beginners, but especially for students with learning differences such as dyslexia or ADHD. Every time a student presses a wrong key, the student loses 1 point. This discourages students from trying random keys, so they really have to think about what they are doing.
Loro incontrano.
And once the answer is correct, the students can also hear the correct pronunciation. Now, what happens if a student does not know how to answer, how to translate a certain input? The student can click on this button, which says, I don't know, and let's see what happens when the student clicks.
Voi diventerete.
The student is shown the correct answer just for a few seconds, so the student can pay attention, type it immediately,
Voi diventerete.
and then move on to the next question. But now, pay attention, this is very important. After the next new question, look at what happens.
Luisa e io ricordiamo.
The student now is presented again with the question that the student did not know. This is another way in which this system literally coaches students. It really allows students to figure out their mistakes and learn from their mistakes.
Voi diventerete.
So this is just the first of many different features that this system has. In the next video, we will look at how students can practice vocab combined with grammar fundamentals. Now, you may have noticed that when dealing with verbs, the system presents combinations of pronouns and names. So there is really a wide variety of inputs that the students are presented with. Okay, so now we can move on to the next video, look at vocab, and then we will also look at sentence structure after that.